It's a fact at this point. The left is fractured to a ridiculous degree, period. Absolutely, 100%. There's no doubting it. There's no debating it. I'm not one to typically... I've done a few videos about abortion, pro-life, pro-choice, etc. I am pro-choice. I've gone into great details and great lengths as to why I hold that position, but the way I've always explained it is that it's like a reluctant pro-choice, right? I certainly do not agree with aborting babies that have already been born. That's not abortion, that's literally just killing a baby. And you might say, Tim, that's ridiculous. Nobody is advocating for that. They are! Okay, when I first saw this video, I just burst out laughing at the top of my lungs. Because it sounds so fake. It's so insane. Okay, there's a viral video right now. CBS News reporting this. Virginia bill would loosen restrictions on late-term abortions. That doesn't sound too bad. However, like the way they framed it, it's kind of like, okay, people who are pro-choice might be interested, like maybe there's a reason for a late-term abortion. First, let's point this out. They mention there's a similar law in New York. A lot of people have been talking about it. I don't know too much about it. That's why I've kind of refrained from commenting. It's a complicated issue. However, it's gone to such an extreme degree, I had to make this video. They point out a majority of Americans, 60%, believe abortion should be legal in the first 3 months of pregnancy. But that number plummets to just 13% for abortions during the third trimester, according to a Gallup poll from May 2018. This is why I say the left is fractured completely. My policies are more close to like moderate centrist Democrats than to Republicans, and there's a lot of reasons why I probably would never vote for a Republican. However, where do I fit on this map? I am not pro-life, right? I would say at a philosophical standpoint, I'm 100% pro-life. I believe that life begins at conception for many different reasons, but I have concerns about government authority and you have two life forms attached to each other, and it's very complicated, very, very complicated. I don't want to get into that whole debate. It'll take 10 hours for me to explain my position because it's very complicated. And I would say that the pro-choice position is one of the most ethically and morally difficult things to choose upon, like whether you're pro-life or pro-choice. But ultimately, the point should be everyone I hope, I know that's not true, but should recognize the reluctance you should have when it comes to abortion, the sadness. I think about women who desperately want to have kids who miscarry and how sad that is. And I think abortion should be it should be up to the woman and her physician, and they should do it in such a way, or in a circumstance where it's absolutely necessary. And I don't think the government should be involved in that. That's the big challenge. But in this video, VA House GOP, heartbreaking. This isn't New York, this isn't California. This happened just this week right here in Virginia. VA House Dems propose legislation to provide abortions up to just seconds before birth. That precious child takes their first breath. Now some people are still gonna say, well, it's what if the baby is just not viable? Like, what if something's wrong with it? What if the doctor, But here's what's really important about this video.
So how late in the third trimester would you be able to do that?
It's very unfortunate that our physicians, witnesses, were not able to attend today to speak specifically.
No, I'm talking about your bill. How late in the third trimester could a physician perform an abortion if he indicated it would impair the mental health of the woman?
Or physical health.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm talking about the mental health.
Okay, now, to address this, he's saying, basically the bill says if the mental health of the woman could be affected, she can get an abortion. Okay, and then she goes on.
Where it's obvious that a woman is about to give birth, that she has physical signs that she is about to give a birth. Would that still be a point at which she could request an abortion if she was so certified? She's dilating.
Mr. Chairman, that would be a decision that the doctor, the physician, and the woman would make.
I understand that. I'm asking if your bill allows that.
My bill would allow that, yes.
Okay, this is not even the worst of it, but to summarize, what she is being asked is, if a woman's mental health could be impacted, the doctor believes as much, and the woman wants to, not the health of the baby, not the physical health of the woman, just the mental health of the woman, meaning the baby is presumed to be viable. It is legal for the doctor to say, you're about to give birth, but your mental health could be impacted, let's abort the baby. But I have a question. How do you abort a baby that's about to be born? That's literally not abortion. That's just killing a baby. And look, if you can deliver the baby and it's alive, that's not an abortion. But here's where it gets really crazy. This video I saw. Okay, I saw this video, I saw this quote, and I thought, look, it's a partisan battle. The left is taking this all out of context. What's really going on? And then I was shocked to see this guy actually says this. He says, if a mother is in labor, the infant would be delivered, the infant would be kept comfortable, the infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired, and then the discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. I feel like I must be wrong about this. I must be getting this wrong. Is he really suggesting that a baby would be delivered, you would do everything to make sure it's alive and comfortable, and then after that determine whether or not you should execute the baby? Is that seriously? Let's listen.
When Fairfax County, no exception, there was a very contentious committee hearing yesterday when Fairfax County Delegate Kathy Tran made her case for lifting restrictions on third trimester abortions as well as other restrictions now in place. And she was pressed by a Republican delegate about whether her bill would permit an abortion even as a woman is essentially dilating, ready to give birth. And she answered that it would permit an abortion at that stage of labor. Do you support her measure and explain her answer?
Yeah, I wasn't there, Julie, and I certainly can't speak for Delegate Tran, but I would tell you first thing I would say, this is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and the mothers and fathers that are involved. There are, when we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of obviously the mother, with the consent of the physicians, more than one physician, by the way. And it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities, there may be a fetus that's non-viable. So in this particular example, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was really blown out of proportion. But again, we want the government not to be involved in these types of decisions. We want the decision to be made by the mothers and their providers. And this is why, Julie, that legislators, most of whom are men, by the way, shouldn't be telling a woman what she should and shouldn't be doing with her body.
And do you think multiple physicians should have to weigh in, as is currently required? She's trying to lift that.
Okay. He was asked about this bill that would allow a woman to get an abortion up until she's even dilating, about to give birth, because it would affect her mental health, not about deformities or whatever. That's crazy enough, because it's not abortion at that point. But hold on. What he just said might be the most terrifyingly psychotic and spineless comment I've ever heard from a politician. He seriously just, from that conversation, said, he mentioned deformities, sure, but hold on. He said the baby would be delivered, kept comfortable, meaning it's alive. What conversation do you have after that? There should literally never be anyone saying the government shouldn't be involved in whether or not a physician and a mother conspire to murder a living baby. Oh my God. There is no choice between whether or not, you cannot choose with your doctor to execute a living baby that is independently alive in another room. You can't. He mentions deformity. I'm sorry. Maybe there's some circumstance where the baby is it's not gonna live. It's alive now, but that's a tough decision. And I still don't like the idea of government-sanctioned execution of a life form they don't see as viable when it is functioning and alive. It's a tough call. It is. Because I certainly wouldn't want a tortured existence of something that has no heart or something and is just dying on the spot. That's troublesome. But are we really coming to a point now where this man, when they're talking about a woman who is giving birth to a baby that has no defects because of her mental health, could determine that they could execute it, and he's saying, well, it's up to the doctor. I'm sorry, no. No. There needs to be something in law to say no to that. At a certain point, you're not talking about abortion anymore. I do not believe this is talking about abortion. If you think that deformed babies should not live, sure, you're talking about infanticide. That's an entirely different conversation, not abortion. Now, if you want to legalize the execution of babies because they're deformed, that's a conversation you should have. Just know that probably every single person in this country, aside from the fringe wackos on the far left, are going to disagree with you. Because for the most part, most people, 87%, disagree with third trimester abortion in the first place. This is no longer a question of pro-life versus pro-choice. These people are quite literally pro-death. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. Okay, the pro-life people say, no matter what, the women should have to give birth, for the most part. There's nuance here. I know some pro-life people who think that women shouldn't be able to get abortion as birth control. But I know many pro-choice people who believe that same thing as well. I do not condone abortion as birth control. But I do think choice should exist because you should have to go through the government every time a woman and a doctor determine that early on, within a certain amount of time, they need to do something about the pregnancy. That's a health matter. If the baby is about to be born, it is alive and can independently function, you're talking about something else. Here, I was going to say, okay. I'm done. I just don't even know what's happening anymore. Okay, I'll have more videos in a minute, and dear God, what is happening? This is insane. I'm going to say it. This is Nazi level shit. I'm not kidding. Killing people who are deformed like as babies, that's like, I'm sorry, you've crossed the line. I'm out. This is why the Democrats are fractured completely. Most people do not agree with this, but far left Democrats are proposing these bills, and that's insane. More videos to come.